Anakin truly saw Obi-Wan as a master and respected him like a father, while Obi-Wan saw Anakin like a student and respected him like a son. The two of them were able to identify their bond with one another, and they were both able to
chamber.
Anakin could create storms, seas, crush mountains. He was truly powerful, and he was an unstoppable force. Revan knew what Anakin could become and he did everything to avoid Anakin becoming a vessel of evil, not knowing the result of Anakin falling to the dark side. But there was still the possibility of the galaxy being consumed by evil. Obi-Wan and Anakin could feel it more than ever. And if anything, Anakin's visions taught him was true. It was almost like for Anakin and Obi-Wan to go out and search for these hidden powers. But there was also one more lesson. Revan appeared and told both Kenobi and Skywalker that they needed to face the darkness. It was evident that together they could take on the galaxy, but they needed to trust in themselves, so that when they were away from one another,
the area.
Misleading him as the head of a silver-haired man rolled down the lava bank. Anakin was confused and even scared. He didn't know what to do and make anything in this moment, but he was terrified to see what evils could be ignited if he fell into darkness. Anakin then realized the potential of such powers, but he remembered that the darkness only brought pain and suffering. Anakin eventually left the cave with a heavy heart as he collapsed to the grass, overlooking the ocean, feeling the ground below him and the wind around him. Obi-Wan went down below and saw death so many cared about. He saw Satine, Dunwich, and hundreds of them. He was with the Obi-Wan was struck, though he was
On my way!
The master introduced to the big crew.
Watch the fight! That must be the center chamber.
They could find what they were looking for there. All the water was well connected. They often sent supplies back and forth because their civilizations were entirely based around living water. 2 weeks after they landed, there was something evil on the planet that they did not know. When they arrived, they were greeted by a creature extremely black. The creature was one of these Caledonians, and she seemed extremely happy to see that the Jedi were here. The Jedi were happy for why they were welcomed so warmly when they weren't requested to be here. The Kaminoan expressed that the Jedi ordered them. Though there was a problem, someone was on the planet at the wrong time. He was talking to the president when the greeter accidentally
Great save! Brother! Right, you watch out! Okay, brother!
His mind went back and forth, his thoughts becoming fragile. He thought of what could happen if he told him what he was planning. Dooku let the words he told them. Dooku pondered for a moment, as his mind ran back and forth, his thoughts becoming fragile as he thought of what could happen if he told him what he was planning. Dooku let the words slip out of his mouth. It was a clone army, requested by the Sith Lord, in order to send the galaxy to war, and then force the execution of the Jedi. It was complex, but that was the simplicity of it. Dooku sighed as Anakin and Obi-Wan placed their hands over the wound and used the first lesson Revan taught Anakin as they healed the aging Count. His breathing steadied as he looked down to see that the lightsaber wound was gone. He was okay. There was nothing wrong with him anymore, just an old scar. Anakin told Dooku that he would order the end of the clone army, and then tell them where the Sith was. Dooku didn't want to just betray his master, but Anakin made Dooku aware that if he didn't, there would be consequences to pay for, not stopping the galaxy from falling into the pits of chaos and war. The Republic was clearly corrupt, and the galaxy was already churning. Dooku growled as Obi-Wan stood up, telling Anakin he had an idea. Anakin looked at his master as the two of them ran down the corridors to the landing platform adjacent to where Anakin and Obi-Wan landed. The platform had a solar sail on it. If they entered the ship, there was a possibility they could find out where the Sith were, and they could kill it. When they entered, they were greeted by a droid. It was attached to the ship. It was a personal pilot. Anakin started asking the pilot to take them to the Sith. Obi-Wan immediately started looking for ship logs to see where the ship had been. Anakin demanded that the droid take them to the Sith or something. He used as many terms as he could: Sith Lair, Sith Temple, Sith Master, Sith Lord. The droid paused and then asked if he meant Lord Sidious. Anakin nodded his head. As the droid turned around and tapped down, Control System took the ship. Anakin and Obi-Wan watched the ship. On the ground of the main cockpit. Anakin was taught about the form of the Force. That gravity was human traits in the power of the Force. As he used the power of battle creation, Anakin surrounded the crew with the power to overcome any of the Rather than kill, here's one final request. When they take their lessons and teach them how to Anakin understood. And requested that they move his legacy not to power, but to teach others how to use the Force. He accepted the Force as a guide on the tool. Anakin and Obi-Wan nodded.
Fuck you! Thank you
so much for the cabin.
Within hours, they landed inside the complex. It was hollow, stale in the air, and it was drained with people. Anakin and Obi-Wan looked around as they tried to find the Sith. They saw relics, statues, and even an altar. They waited patiently. The Sith Lord was not here. It was the middle of the day on Coruscant, and while they didn't know it, he was the Chancellor, and he was currently leading the Republic into downfall. Obi-Wan and Anakin looked at each other. They knew what was to come next. They kneeled down next to the altar. They focused on the Force, draining the altar and every other Sith artifact from its evil power, and using that power for their complete and utter balance. The day turned to night as a coldness entered the room. Sidious stood before the two.
Vivaldi sure did a number on this place.
He recognized
Not that there was
Skywalker
much to see
after
before.
noticing how his hair had
Still,
come out.
the echoes
Sidious was
remain,
very confused.
ready for
He stared
plunder.
at the two, both of them opening their eyes to face the Sith Lord.
Well,
He
when
knew
you do
something
need
was wrong.
something, I'll
He
be
knew something
around.
was off in the Force. It wasn't light, it was powerful. Sidious then realized what it was as Anakin leapt from his
What
knees
is
and
this
ignited
place?
both of his blades.
You are
Kenobi
standing at the
saved in a
entrance to
synchronized
Vivaldi's
fashion,
workshop.
with two of them standing
Testament
adjacent
to the
Sidious.
ingenuity of
Lord
dwarven
realized he was
engineering.
facing down the most powerful
Why does it
hero
smell
the
so
Force
bad?
could create.
It's quite
The Sith
foul,
Lord would not run
isn't
from the
it?
challenge as he ignited both
Well,
blades
that's a long
and
story,
ignited
but,
the blade
quite
that
simply,
ended the path.
Vivaldi messed with
Sidious
forces he
knew
shouldn't have, and
help
you're
along the way.
breathing the
Sidious
consequences.
knew of this help because the Sith had been
So,
obsessed with
Vivaldi
finding
created
answers
this
for his
mist?
death.
No, Niflheim has always
It's
been
why
a
the
land
Sith
of mist.
attacked Tython,
And snow,
and why they've been
endless
searching the
snow,
galaxy for years to
wind
find it.
and
Every
ice. Really, it's
Jedi
never been
ever
a pleasant
killed by a
location.
Sith in the last thousands
Vivaldi
of
found a way
years,
to
they were
harness
all
that
looking
frosty
for
power
Revan's hilt.
and built
They were going to
marvels that
bleed
shocked
Revan's
the
crystal
realms of both
and
man
summon the
and
ghost
God.
of Darth Revan.
Wow.
Sure, it was
Yes.
a long shot, but as
Wow.
Sidious steadied himself into his stance,
So then
he
what
realized the
happened?
Jedi found it first.
After
Still
Vivaldi
not able
built
to
all the
comprehend
marvels.
the power of the
Ah,
ultimate
yes,
balance.
well,
5
Odin
lightsabers
wasn't
illuminated
keen
the
on the
room
idea
as
of
Sidious
dwarves
tried to
building
take
contraptions
Arden
that
as the
challenged his
target.
power, so he
He would find it to
intervened.
be a surprise when
Vivaldi was
Kenobi
furious
tapped up to
and
speed
retaliated.
Sidious.
From
The
there,
Dark
things
Lord realized he was truly
escalated,
in for
and
the
well,
fight of his life. As the two Jedi
here we
bounced
are.
back and forth,
Cursed
twirling
mist.
their blades around like
And
tornadoes
this
of power.
is why gods are best
Using
avoided.
their strength and their dedication,
I didn't think we'd see you out
perfecting the
here,
art of
since
lightsaber
you and Brock got
combat
back together.
As they pushed Sidious off balance.
Everything okay?
The Dark Lord
Oh,
tried to rely on the
better than
artifacts of what they
ever.
had in their power.
You know,
they were drained.
I really
They
think
couldn't
we've
summon the
both
strength for
grown
Sidious to
in our
use.
years apart.
As he realized he was only
how
able
come
to
you're
rely
back
on
here?
himself. Sidious moved
Just
defensively
catching
as
some fresh
Anakin
air. Look,
pushed him into the
I
hallway and
love
heated the
my
exchange.
brother,
4 lightsabers
but
bounced
he
in
still
between the
smells
two of
like
them
a
as they
fetid
cut through
dung bug.
walls as a corridor. As the two of them fought their way out to the hangar bay.
What
Anakin
speaks to
pushed
you?
off offensively, and then he felt his advantage as he pulled back, knowing that Sidious was trying to tempt him off balance. Kenobi caught up as he engaged the Dark Lord, moving around as he spun and blocked the strike from Sidious. Kenobi then engaged Sidious with Anakin by his side, as they pushed Sidious back, cutting through one of his blades, and then finally destroying the second. Without hesitation, the two killed Sidious, and the weight from the galaxy collapsed. Anakin and Obi-Wan looked at one another. They smiled. Their dyad, their power, their battle meditation helped them bring an end to the Sith. Dooku was clearly no longer a Sith, but there was still so much that had to be done. Over the course of the next 5 months, Obi-Wan and Anakin would return to the Jedi Temple and begin trying to get through to the High Council, telling them everything they learned. Very
there
few members of
more?
the Council
Let me
were
think.
receptive of this. But with the Senate being reconfigured with a new Chancellor, whose goal it was to restore the balance of the Republic by drafting up documents to benefit the Republic, Trade Federation, banking plans, and the Union, with this leadership of this Chancellor, war would be avoided. But the clones, Ren and Kamino, had an issue. They were living beings, and they were trained to fight in a war that was no longer going to happen. The Commandant, seeing the loss of the conflict, would cut their ties with them and return to one of their former bases of operation located in the gas giant. Instead of consoling the clones by allowing them a chance to solve their hunger, the Commandant was sink both the citadel and the rest of the facilities, drowning and killing every single clone outside of it. The Jedi would feel the same loss of life, and finding the clones living. Under the Republic, they couldn't be classified as criminals because the clones were criminal property, and the Jedi couldn't seek revenge. But Obi-Wan and Anakin would avenge their deaths, eye for eye, if you will, as they disabled the Kamino facility, allowed it to crash into the gas giant, killing every single one of their people, waiting for their civilization. And Obi-Wan and Anakin would leave the world after months of trying to convince the Order of their way, only a few Jedi remained. Turning the Lost 20 into the Lost 26. The Jedi Master joining them would be Master Yoda, obviously, Windu, Alito, Shaka, Goku, and Cal, all seemingly alert and astray. Goku was naturally attracted to the spot of being a former member of the Barrando Sages. They would recruit many Jedi, and their order would relocate to several spots across the galaxy. Dooku would even join their ranks. Instead of being based solely on one planet, they expanded. Lothal, Mandalore, Thorin, Tatooine, Sereno. Obi-Wan and Anakin would stay close as ever, committing themselves to a diet, but still expanding elsewhere in the galaxy, trying to help anyone and everyone that they could. The Order of Rebels became the newest group of knights out to restore balance. Dooku would lead from Sereno, where he would recruit Jedi and Force users alike, building a bond with anyone and everyone, teaching them the ways of balance, while Lothal would be where Windu and Beliba would go and train their first class of students in the Order of Revan, many of them being former Jedi, while utilizing the former Jedi Temple remnants on Lothal. Plo Koon returned to Duel to work with the Barrando Sages from his home world. Shakti would depart to Dathomir and become closer to the Tatooine and Daka, uniting the Order of Revan, the Barrando Sages, and the Dathomir Witches to one another. Yaddle, on the other hand, would become very close to Skywalker, as she and him would depart to Tatooine and open up an academy to teach young Force sensitives in the way of balance and unity. Anakin and Yaddle would begin ripping through cylinders and freeing those under the control of the Tiberians, the Pikes, and the Hutts. Anakin is able to find and free his mother. He is able to find love with the young son of Tatooine, by the name of Pax. On the other side of the galaxy, with a member of the Order of Revan, with no while the Order of Revan was buried in the Order was with execution. Many Jedi saw their way and left the Order to join the members. The Jedi would dwindle in size, and of their members, troops and the Jedi would be seen as fragile and ivory power, as the Order of Revan overstated and balanced destroying monuments and temples of Jedi, as the Order of Revan established the galaxy full of balance. They would move into the dawn and have two children. They would live before the city. His daughter would be born first, and his son born finally. Obi and Anakin's children would become close friends and parents. The Order of Revan were allowed to find intimacy and love with their which eventually led to Anakin's leading the Order and joining love with one another. The Order of Revan brings security to the galaxy. The Jedi would no longer be seen as purpose of peace and progress, as they faded out of existence. The light of the Order of Revan. The legacy of Revan was established. Skywalker and Kenobi
Find some
should
help!
always be of course. The Order would be built on foundational trust, with one master leading an entire order, and an order of full masters and students working together, building a lifetime bond as they grew in exceptional size, freeing the galaxy from any harm that could be brought to it.